Grand Theft Auto 4 was a monumental success, grossing over $600 million in sales. But under the success of GTA 4, there's a story that took nearly a decade to be told. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the story of Niko Bellic's actor, Michael Hollick, and dive into what actually went wrong. Now, in the early 2000s, Rockstar was not the huge corporate giant they are today. Whilst the early games such as Grand Theft Auto 3 sold over 14 million copies, and Vice City further selling an additional 17 million copies, and San Andreas going on to sell 21 million copies, Rockstar were experiencing exponential growth, but also taking on huge risks when hiring actors. An example of this is Grand Theft Auto Vice City, where Rockstar realised for the first time that they had the budget to get anyone they wanted. So to tell the story of a mafia-connected lead role, who better than Ray Liotta, an actor praised for his role in the 1990s hit Goodfellas. Also starring in Goodfellas was Samuel L. Jackson, who actually became the voice of Frank Tenpenny in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. During this period of Rockstar working with some of the biggest names at the time in Hollywood, they realised a few key things. Not only was it expensive working with such large celebrities, but at the time it presented some issues for the team at Rockstar. Not only was there on-set tension stemming from Ray Liotta not believing that video games were real acting or a real form of media, but also following the release of GTA Vice City, there appeared to be a dispute over the pay he received for the role, especially when he saw that the game sold in such high numbers. Now this is going to be a recurring theme throughout this video. From what I understand in my research, it later seems like these issues were resolved. And on a side note, although Ray Liotta unfortunately passed away in 2022, it's not yet known if he had any involvement with GTA 6. Speculation currently places all of the voice recording and audio lines around 2018, 4 years prior to the passing of Ray Liotta. However, his involvement with GTA 6, in my opinion, seems quite unlikely. So this brings us to Grand Theft Auto 4, the grittiest entry into the series so far, depicting a Serbian man named Niko on a journey to make something of himself in Liberty City. Now, in the early stages of development for GTA 4, Rockstar had all of their scripts written and were initially predominantly focused on the game engine and the motion capture. So for this, Rockstar tried a different approach. Rather than looking to Hollywood for an actor to base Niko's movements off, they decided to take on some newer talent from a different sector of the television and movie industry. With Rockstar's head office based in New York, they needed a fresh face with enough acting talent to do the job well, but ideally someone that they could rely on, that wouldn't be noticed coming into the motion capture studios, and that of course didn't have a Hollywood ego. Cue Michael Hollick. Rockstar have a habit of employing actors that have previously been on Law & Order, which is one of the main reasons that substantiates us to believe that Manny L. Perez is the voice actor for Lucia. The resumes bear a striking resemblance to each other. Once Rockstar had landed on Michael Hollick, he began working with them on the motion capture for different scenes. Now this is where some context is probably useful. Michael Hollick is a method actor. All of the movements, walking style, running style, hand gestures, and expressions were all dictated by how well Michael knew Niko as a character. And during the first few days of motion capture work, Michael used a Serbian accent to fall into the character of Niko Bellic.
I initially was hired to do the motion capture. So I did all the motion capture for the character as well.
Now it was during these first few days that Rockstar made the decision to have Michael Hollick also become the voice of Niko Bellic, as he embodied the character perfectly. Now over the coming year, Michael Hollick had dialect lessons to make sure he could perfectly portray the character of Niko, and to make sure that some of the wording and inflections in his voice were true to a Serbian character, and the end result was the masterpiece that was Grand Theft Auto 4. But whilst on the surface everything looked great, behind the scenes trouble was brewing. Before we continue the story of Michael Hollick, I just want to say a big thank you meet Venom. For those that have been following the channel for a while, Venom have been sponsoring the channel month over month for the past 6 months. Now if you're looking for gaming accessories, whether that be controller accessories, charging docks, stuff for a VR headset, stuff for your Xbox or PlayStation, Venom is the best place to get all of that stuff. Now if you're based in the UK, you can use code CYBERBOY for free shipping at checkout. However, if you're not based in the UK, you can still find all of Venom stuff at your local retailer. Just search their products online and I'm sure you'll find them. So without further ado, let's get back into the video. Michael Holick was paid $100,000 for his role as Niko Bellic, which worked out at around $1,000 per day, which is about 1.5 times the recommended amount by the Standard Screen Actors Guild today, and around about 2 times the amount back in 2008. The total production cost for the game was $100 million, and once the game had released, over the next 10 years it turned over around $2 billion. Now following this global success of the game, Michael Holick vented his frustrations with Rockstar, as he was only paid this initial $100,000. This equates to roughly 0.1% of the total budget for the game, and he believed that he should have been paid residuals on the game, or just paid more. Now whilst Rockstar have never made a public statement regarding this, we can do some basic maths. The game took around 4 years to make, with around 750 full-time employees, which meant that if each Rockstar employee was paid around $30,000 a year, that's the entire budget of GTA 4 completely gone. This isn't even including the overheads of the various studios, which would have undoubtedly have been into the many millions. It's also worth stating that when movie studios employ actors, it usually works on a higher upfront payment, or alternatively, a lower payment for the role with residuals on the sales of the film. This way the risk and recuperation is split between the movie studios and the actors. In video games, it traditionally works quite differently, with nearly all game studios not offering residuals on the final product. Now in my research for this video, I've tried to dive through the limited information out there about Michael Holick's disagreements with Rockstar. Some sources say that the media blew it out of proportion, and Michael has no animosity towards Rockstar, but the impression I get from his own recount of the events seems to differ from that. Now it's not known if Rockstar later paid him an additional sum of money, but judging by Michael Holick's own words, it can be assumed that they probably did. Following the success of GTA 4, Michael Holick later went on to star in a number of Broadway shows, and from what I understand, that's still what he's doing today. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, please make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.